Welcome to First Look Sports Talk. I am your host, Angel Delos Reyes. Right here, I got the co-host.
Your boy, Jayden with it.
Today, we're going to dive in breaking down some NFL divisions. But before we get into that, we would love for you guys to subscribe, like, and comment. Let us know what you thought about this video and what you guys want us to talk about more. We love to interact. But without further ado, we're going to break down these NFL divisions. First one we picked was NFC East. We kind of just had a spin the wheel type because we didn't want to. You pick this, I pick that, so we kind of just let fate take its course.
Right.
So we did the NFC East. So we're gonna break it down, kind of talk about what they brought in for the offseason because we all know this new league started March 17th. So nothing but crazy has been happening, everything. So we're gonna talk about who they added, some key losses, what we think they still need, like big storyline that they had this offseason and still got some questions going forward. And then we'll break down how their offense and defense did a little bit this past year, and then what they look for in the draft. But without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to start off with the Cowboys. Last year went 6-10. High expectations going into the year. Dak again signed on his franchise tag, so he was playing game to game, no guaranteed money. But yeah, this team started out really slow, especially with Dak getting hurt. It's probably brought the team down a little bit, and then went on a little roll. And then
Mike McCarthy, when they came in, he brought in Super Bowl expectations, and the way they started off the year, we knew it's the same old Cowboys. Like they came in, they were 1-3 with Dak before he got hurt. So who knows
like that.
Really what have happened? But like I think this next year they got the little cloud out of the air with Dak. I mean, their offense is there. Like they probably have the best wide receiver core, if not one of the top 4 or 5 in the league. So I mean, it's really they putting pressure on Dak. Like, here's your money, here's your offense, got a new head coach. What you gonna do?
Yeah, I agree with that. They kind of gave him his money. We gave you what you wanted. Can't really say nothing else. Go out there and prove it and show that you earned that contract.
Exactly.
Because he is the highest paid quarterback now. So with that, you got to come have expectations with that. You just don't get paid that and then you're good. You can't. You got to elevate your game. You got to take this team to the next level, win some playoff games. But yeah,
not playoff games. They talking Super Bowl. You don't give them that much money and not win a Super Bowl. Like,
yeah, for sure, I agree.
But it's a team game.
The ultimate.
In their defense, we'll get into that a little bit later, but they need work there.
Yeah. So some key additions. They didn't really bring anyone special in, because they probably didn't really have the money for it because they did get Dak his contract. They paid a whole bunch of other players. But they did lose a little bit of players. Andy Dalton,
Bears.
A solidified backup quarterback. They brought him in for that very reason, just in case Dak got hurt. The team, I mean, there is kind of a step down from what talent-wise and probably what he could do, but he still has played in this NFL and has won some games. Lost Cameron Irving, a versatile offensive lineman. The offensive line was decimated last year. Injuries throughout the whole line, left tackle, center, I believe. I think Zach Martin was probably the only one that stayed healthy, and he got hurt a little bit too.
And getting old, again, that offensive line getting older, and they don't recover as fast. I mean, that's just part of life.
Yep, especially in the trenches. That's every play is a car accident, they say. So, and then lost a cornerback too, a Wuze or whatever, Woozy. He was solid though. He was solid.
He is. He's not like no turnover machine or nothing, but he obviously can like lock down the side of the field.
Yeah, he's a starter for sure.
Definitely.
But going forward, this team needs to definitely address all three levels on the defense. Like we were saying, we think that offense is solidified now with Dak coming back. Wide receiver core is solid. Um, Maybe a tight end, but tight ends you can find a tight end probably.
Yeah, no.
And
They
then
have a
offensive line can come back as well.
yeah,
But yeah,
their offensive line gonna get healthy. I think they have a young tight end that he did all right last year.
I think you're talking about like Schwartz, something like
I
that.
think it's something like that. I can't remember exactly what his name was, but
Mm-hmm.
one thing I saw is that Alden Smith isn't coming back.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's I mean, he didn't have a lot of production, but he produced for the
yeah,
defensive line. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they fulfill like after giving Lawrence all that money and losing Alden Smith, and we'll see how they go about that, how they want to do their defense this year.
yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, big headline this off season. We didn't really know if they were going to give Dak his contract, if they were still going to push back on it a little bit. Hey, we're going to offer you this. Because last year I know it was about around 35 million a year, and Dak wanted more money basically, or maybe more years on it. But they did
I think he wanted less years, but more money. Like
or more guarantees maybe too, or some other things in the contract that he wanted. But they came up to an agreement this time. He got his 4-year contract worth 160 million, 126 million guaranteed. Crazy. He's set for life.
mill a
Um,
year. Ugh,
some some little things in this contract, no trade clause, and then a no tag provision as well.
that's
So they can't trade him without him knowing. I know he can waive that no trade clause if he did want to get traded, and then he can't get tagged as well. That's understandable. He got tagged 2 or 3 times, so why would you want to go through that again?
exactly.
But yeah, we'll dive into this offense. It's kind of hard to look at these stats and see what they would have been because they didn't have Dak for more than half the season. So this offense is probably a little mediocre. And then two, they did bring in Andy Dalton, no offseason, whole new offense. They got to get the rhythm of it. They got to develop chemistry with his wide receivers, timing, all that. And then the injury. So it was kind of wasn't the greatest position that he was in as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you want to get a good look at Dak like his year before. So like 2019,
Mm-hmm.
he was top 5 in passing. The offense, he even has more weapons now than he did. I mean,
For
that
sure.
year they weren't that good, but Dak had an outstanding year. And that's why they had such big expectations coming into next year. New coach, Dak. I mean, they still had the cloud in the air. He's playing for a contract basically, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, offense. I want to definitely see Zeke step up more.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Pollard's a good back, but Zeke had a down year in my opinion. He set his expectations so high, like you expect it from him now, and he
Yeah.
getting paid like it is. So
Yeah,
um,
definitely. I know it was little question marks too with running backs getting a second contract because lately history has shown that running backs getting their second contract, they just don't live up to that. They don't really, their production doesn't meet the pay. But he was probably pressing a little bit too, trying to do too much, with Dak being hurt. So maybe that was a little downfall to his play.
yeah, I can see that.
But we'll see. Hopefully he gets his mind right, works hard this offseason, realizes that his career is not forever. So got to put it all on the line this year, getting Dak back. Hopefully they can all stay healthy and make a run at this. But
Yeah,
we'll see. It's the Cowboys. You know how every Cowboys fan is. You know how they haven't won a Super Bowl since the '80s, probably.
but they
So
be here about talking or in talks for Super Bowls every year, but never even make the
yeah,
playoffs.
and I think that's a credit to just Jerry Jones and just his marketing,
That's facts.
his just demeanor towards the team, and then what the name is, what that star on that side of the helmet is. It's America's team basically.
That's the culture.
Yep. But we'll look on that side of the defense now. This defense It's pretty terrible. 28 overall. They weren't that bad in pass defense, so 11th ranked, and then the 31st ranked defense. So they weren't stopping no one on the run. But they were doing not the best, but solid in the passing defense.
The passing defense got better over like the second half of the year. They had starting to turn the ball over, get some turnovers and stuff like that. You seen players being more comfortable in the knowledge of their system and knowing when they can go make plays and putting themselves in certain positions, disguising coverages. Like if you don't really understand your defense, and that's an issue with coming into a new year, or no OTAs, no, you feel me, all everything virtual. Like it's hard to, some people don't learn that. Like you got to actually visualize it and rep it, and then you can go out there and perform like the best you can. So I mean, this next year, didn't they get a new DC?
Dan Quinn,
Coach,
I believe.
yeah, coach from Falcons. Yeah.
Yep. Dan Quinn. So hopefully that's an upgrade from what they got last year. I don't know what they had last year. But hopefully Dan Quinn can kind of come in and bring this group together. Because it's not hard. I don't think it's gonna be hard to kind of improve these stats. Giving up 5 yards a carry, third worst, 29.6 points a game. That's a lot of points. And then 57 touchdowns, rushing and passing. That's tied for second worst in the NFL. So if you can prove even maybe just a little bit, bring the points per game down, then you have a solid chance to win some games, because this offense can obviously score some points as well. I know last year when Dak was playing, he had all those passing yards because they were down, and maybe down big sometimes. So they had to throw the ball and come back every single game. And they made that like a routine too, and that's just not like a good habit to create. So hopefully, with this off season, everyone getting healthy. They, like I said, they didn't bring anyone big in because they really have like a solid core there. They really have some good players and some really quality in key positions.
Right.
So hopefully they can kind of get it together, and improve this team a little bit overall.
Yeah, I think a big thing for them is going to be on defense, limiting the offenses to 3, not 6, because whenever they get in the red zone, their efficiency is terrible. And then on offense, trying to control the clock, run the ball.
Yep.
I mean, keep the ball in your offense's hands. You want to dominate the time of possession. And then where your defense lacks, you can't have them on the field all the time. So if you can have your offense on the field, that's always going to help your team.
Yep. And rest that defense. The defense can stay on the sideline and rest up.
Right.
But yeah, like you were saying, control that ball. I know probably in the early careers of Dak Prescott, they were running the ball, they were controlling everything, and he can go out play action. And that makes your offense three-dimensional. You can rush the ball, you can pass the ball, and then play action. So that defense keeps them on their toes. They don't know what to expect. So yeah, that's definitely something that they should probably do this year. Lean on Zeke. They paid him all that money. Might as well.
Loaded. You feel me?
But yeah, we'll see what this team can do this year. Looking ahead to the draft, they do have the 10th overall pick. I don't see them going anywhere else besides defensive side of the ball. And then probably a secondary. I know I've seen a lot of mock drafts having them going corner. I know there's three corners that are probably considered in this spot. Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech, Patrick Surtain the second out of Bama, and then J.C. Horn out of South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, all I'm hearing is Patrick Surtain. And I think even like one of the Dallas coaches worked him out at the combine, at his pro day. I mean,
okay, yeah.
So if that don't draw any more attention than you already need, like the 10th overall team is looking at you, like your coach is working him out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think they probably go Patrick Surtain there, unless someone oddly falls, maybe like
True,
Kyle
always happen. Yeah.
Or Justin Jefferson. I mean, they already stacked there, but like sometimes you got to take the best dude available. So
maybe one of these linemen drops too. You can never have too much linemen, especially with these their tackles getting hurt.
Right.
And you got to protect that $160 man. You don't want him season-ending injury again.
Yeah, he have another season-ending injury.
That's to be
Bad
devastating.
for Dak. Yeah, that's bad for him.
Yeah,
But
for real. But yeah, that wraps up the Cowboys. We'll hit the second team in this division, the New York Giants. Again, 6-10. Um, this team is like a wild card, I would say. Some games that will come out and play really good. You're feeling good about this team, and other games that is lay an egg, turnovers here. Um, but like I said, this team is a wild card.
right.
They did bring in some talent this offseason though. They were
Yeah.
big spenders. They did. Then they had a game plan and they attacked it. Bringing in John Ross, Reggie Ragland, Kyle Rudolph, uh, big one, Kenny Galladay.
Big,
Um,
big.
and then I know recently they just signed Adoree Jackson as well.
All right.
They
I
did
was.
lose some. They did lose some
Oh,
players. Some Golden Tate, their guard Kevin Zeitler, and then Dalvin Tomlinson too, a key piece in that D line.
right. I was. I was surprised by this Kenny Galladay because I was like, where is he going? Because if he went
Mm,
like Packers or like you feel me, like that could be a big game changer. Like
yeah, for
he's a
sure.
dude. Like and him going here, I'm like, oh, he must
Yeah,
see something. You feel me?
yeah,
I mean, I think a lot of people are Ben Peep, like, okay, the Giants, like Joe Judge, he might be the truth. Like they rallying behind him, they feel
yeah,
the culture. Like you get Saquon back, you get another. They've been missing a wide receiver since OBJ left. Like
yeah,
they got a player that caliber, and then I mean, it's the culture at that point taking over and just
yeah.
like they you're right, like they can have a chance. I think they might be like they could fight for the number 2 spot in this division.
Yeah. And like you were saying, um, Joe Judge, you're right. He might be the truth. I
Mm,
know there's been a lot of Bill Belichick disciples trying to replicate what he does, and then some fail, some succeed. Like we see in Miami, Brian Flores, he's succeeding down there. But yeah, maybe this is one of those disciples that can run his own team.
mm,
Um, but yeah, came across a question with that Kenny Galladay signing. He's making about 18 million a year.
mm,
Um, that's what Odell was making. Um, and they traded him. So it's kind of like you're replacing Kenny Galladay for Odell. Does that really make sense? Does stuff like that, or maybe it was more than just a player. It was the locker room, the persona that OBJ brought. I know Kenny Galladay has kind of just put your head down and work,
mm.
uh, improve it. So we'll see. But that was an interesting question that I came across. It was like they're both making around the same amount of money. Um, it's
Production.
just kind of iffy, iffy question about like why did you trade away OBJ then and then pay this guy this year?
Right.
But maybe this was a great signing. That's just a question that we came across. I know Kenny Galladay was hurt last year. Maybe he didn't want to push himself too because he didn't have that money. Why would he go out there and risk his body and get hurt possibly more with no guarantees of being paid? And then maybe he wouldn't have gotten this contract if he went out there last year, pushed his body a little more than what he could. But he got paid, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, and he played for Detroit, like
Yeah.
Detroit's ass.
And he had Matthew Stafford, though. A lot
But
of
yeah,
people think
no,
this man's underrated, and I think so too. But we'll see what he brings to the Rams. This is definitely a prove it year for him.
I think
But Kenny Galladay was definitely a touchdown scorer. He was producing in fantasy all the
yeah,
time, and I didn't really know his name. Because like you said, he was in Detroit, kind of a little hidden. Um, yeah,
I
he's
mean,
definitely gonna go out there and prove his name this year.
yeah, I've been on about him. Like if you know football, you know about him. But
Hmm.
it's like I don't think he had enough light or enough TV time there. In New York, that's a whole different monster. So
Definitely.
we'll see how I think his attitude is perfect for New York because they don't need another flashy big dude. Like if you think how Saquon is, if you think how Joe Judge is, how Daniel Jones is, I think he's gonna fit right in. Like, put your head down and work. None of this flashy, whatever. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
OBJ, like he is what he is, and he's an icon and an influencer. But sometimes, like it brings too much attention, and you see that wherever he goes. Like even with the Browns, like it brings pressure.
Yeah,
If that makes sense. Like,
easily. Um, but yeah, I would say with all these signings, they're kind of going all in. Um, with Daniel Jones too. Kind of giving Daniel Jones the pieces that he would need to succeed, and for this whole team to succeed.
mm-hmm.
Because he is on that rookie contract again. You know, these teams like to take advantage of that. And this is kind of a prove it, a make or break year for him. If we're gonna give you all the pieces to succeed, if you can't, then we're gonna probably move on from you. If you succeed, great. You know, we know what we got to do now. We got to surround you with more talent. So the pressure is on Daniel Jones to deliver and succeed for this team. Because you want to do that too for your franchise quarterback. Why wouldn't you? You drafted him. You got to put that pressure on him and see what he can actually do. Because this is the quarterback, the leader of the team. The quarterback carries the team. You know, you got to
Mm-hmm.
score points. Um,
As he approaches the end of his contract, like that's where it's like you playing for money now. Like,
mm-hmm,
are you gonna get your $100 million contract, or you be traded or released and go
mm-hmm.
be a backup somewhere?
Yep,
So
gonna
I
be.
mean, this is his pressure. This is his moment. You feel me? Like everyone in their life, like they waiting for their opportunity. Like he's got it right here. So I
Yeah.
hope he grabs it, holds it, and just runs with it. Like at
Yep.
least go make a run to get into the playoffs. If not, win the division. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Put yourself in that opportunity to demand a contract like that.
mm,
Instead of being possibly released, don't get your fifth year option exercise, and then you be
right.
a Mitchell Trubisky and go be a backup in Buffalo. Um, but yeah, um, Daniel Jones had his up and downs though. Um, I know he was like a turnover machine last year, especially with fumbles. It was like his kryptonite. 18 last year, 11 this year, so he was a little better. But you definitely still want to protect that ball because if you protect the ball, then you give your a better chance to win the game and succeed in this league. But we break down the offense a little bit. Didn't have Saquon, so they were a little decimated in that end, especially with the running game. 31st overall, 29th ranked passing, 19th ranked rushing. Only averaged 17.5 a game, second worst in the NFL. On third down, they really couldn't convert at 36.4%, fourth worst, and then only 12 passing touchdowns. So he had 12 passing touchdowns and
See,
10 interceptions this year. Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
Daniel
Tied
Jones,
worst.
we need more. We need more from you, Daniel. This is your year,
Yeah,
bro.
definitely. Um, so we definitely, want to see those numbers improve that this team wants to succeed.
You
And
know,
maybe he's out there saying, I didn't have the success, or the team sees and watches film and like, hey, we need to upgrade this position, and then that gives our offense the opportunity to do these things,
right?
because he also can run the ball too. He showed that last year. So that adds something else that he can maybe get out the pocket, do some play action, throw on
Yeah,
the run.
he's
It's just
athletic,
another thing that you can bring to the offense.
right? You're not winning many games going 36% on third down. Like that's your money down.
Hmm.
You getting held to that. I'm surprised they even won 6 games, to be honest. But that's just probably a testament to Joe Judge. He's a special teams coordinator, and there's 3 phases of the game. If you
Yep.
win 2 of them, I mean, or at least are like balanced in it, like you have an opportunity to win games.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
Um,
no, they proved their offense. They proved that phase of the game. I don't see why they couldn't go win 8, 9 games this year.
hmm
I
Definitely.
don't know about double digits yet, but I could definitely see them reaching 8 or 9
Yeah, for sure. Maybe.
because they
Um,
had some close games. I mean, they was in it with Tampa to the very end.
yep. Yep.
Like
They were
this,
surprising sometimes.
right, exactly. They would come to play. Like it was a game you thought, oh man, they're getting blown out, but they're right there. And
Yep. They went
One
into
time.
Seattle without Daniel Jones, beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a big testament to this defense. This defense was putting in the work. Ninth overall defense, sixth ranked passing, and 10th rushing defense. Um, solid defense. Ninth in scoring defense, giving up 22.3 points a game. Um, and then they were 50. They gave up touchdowns 50.8% when they came in the opposition came in the red zone, and that led the league. So they were kind of bend don't break type
Yeah,
of team. And
I know
when
what I
you give up field goals instead of touchdowns,
exactly.
that's a win. That's a win.
Mm-hmm.
Even though if you're giving up points, 3 points, your offense should be able to score 3 points.
Mm-hmm. And it's like sometimes their defense was put in some tough situations with
Exactly.
fumbles,
Yep.
turnovers,
Yep.
and if you that just yeah, like you said, it gives a testimony to their defense because they had a resilient attitude. Like, okay, he turned the ball over on the 40-yard line, but they gonna get three at they probably gonna get three at most. But like if we could hold them to they could get six, but if we could hold them to three, like that would be a win for the defense. Like
Yeah, for sure.
and they
Kind
did
of I got your back offense.
right.
And they kind of kept that team in every game basically. Because like
Yeah.
you said, like the Joe Judge effect maybe. Special team coordinator, he knows how important all three aspects of the game, and if your defense is a strong point on your team, lean towards them.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but
I
yeah,
think
this
the same
defense,
thing.
they brought back Leonard Williams too.
Did they franchise him?
They gave. I think they did, and then they kind of they worked on a deal.
They
They
got
came
him
into
done.
agreement. I think about 4 years. 4 years. I don't know the exact money on it. But they for
So
sure brought him back
it's a good piece to bring back.
for sure.
He had a lot of production last year.
Mm-hmm. Kind of coming over from the Jets, didn't really live up to expectations. I would say there, for them to let go of him, and then kind of revived his career in New York with the Giants. Well,
Mm,
across the hallway, going to a different locker room.
right. I just feel like people don't want to play for the Jets. Like
Yeah, we'll see.
they
They're
don't really.
I think they're on the rise. They got a new head coach, but we'll see.
I don't know.
But we'll look ahead to the draft. They do hold the 11th pick. I kind of just see best player available type of thing, or
Right.
maybe offensive weapon lineman here. You can never have enough linemen. But we'll see kind of how things play out. I know a lot of things have been changed in the draft with teams moving up, back, and then going back up,
Mm-hmm.
and that probably is not done. Teams are probably gonna keep doing that until they're up probably.
Till the pick is gone.
Exactly. Um, so we'll definitely see. I know them linked to a wide receiver, maybe like Jayden Waddle, maybe Devontae Smith, one of these receivers.
If
Um,
they fall that,
yeah.
I,
But we'll see.
I
They
can
got
see
a
them.
lot of different ways they can go.
I can see them going like an edge rusher. If because I know there's a couple, but there's a lot of big like offensive threats right now.
Hmm.
So I could see maybe like a edge rusher or
Yeah.
maybe like a middle linebacker. I know there's one that's I think he goes to Tulsa or something like that, but he's a
Yeah.
dog.
I
He's a
think
dog.
I know Xavier Collins or something like that. But I'd probably take Micah Parsons over him if he's available. And then edge rusher, I don't see one that's like dominant to take like 11.
You don't
In
think
the beginning of this draft, I see a run on quarterbacks, probably five of them going within the first 15. I know there's like three linemen, maybe two, and then offensive weapons. You got the three
right?
receivers. You got Kyle Pitts, and then you got the corners. So we'll see. Maybe they can trade back and get one of those edge rushers. Because I know teams aren't really looking at them as um, like what you would see in the past, like a Myles Garrett, Chase Young, or someone that's solidified as the number one pass rusher. Because I know these pass rushers, they got weaknesses and strengths, and it's all like pick your poison.
What you want, what you
So
need for your defense.
yeah, so we'll kind of see how they want to go. Um, that wraps up the Giants. We'll look ahead to the Eagles. Eagles. Went 4-11. Um, basically got rid of the whole thing. Clean sweep. brought in new head coach, still the same GM, Howie Roseman. Um, this team had a lot of going on last year. A lot going on, a lot of controversy, and it is Philly, so it is. There is, they say brotherly love, but there probably is no love that they
I
were
don't
showing their
know.
team.
They're just passionate people, and they'll let you know. And they don't really care. Like
Yeah,
whether you're doing good, like they'll praise you, but if you're doing bad, like they gonna criticize you, and
yeah,
they expect like their stars to be like strong people, like not even just in football, like all their sports.
yeah, for sure. You definitely have to be probably mentally strong to be in this city because, like you said, they're gonna let you know. And some people just don't like that, you know. Some
Mm.
people aren't like that, you know. Um, but this team had ups and downs, more downs than ups, I would say. With Carson Wentz, expecting a lot from him because he did carry this team last year. Literally, he was carrying his team to the playoffs last year, and this year kind of expect the same. And he just couldn't replicate what he did last year. Probably turning the ball over too much, getting sacked, holding on to the ball too long, and then his relationship with his play caller just wasn't the same. You know, they were just not on the same page. And then Philly, so that's added pressure. That's more voices in your head being getting to you possibly.
Right. And I think a big aspect that a lot of people fail to realize is like when the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts, they basically were like either putting pressure on Carson Wentz or like this is your replacement if you don't live up to the standard.
Mm-hmm.
And I know just from watching Jalen Hurts through Alabama, Oklahoma, he's a dude. Like you feel him when he walks in the room, like he's a presence. Like so having him behind them, I think like maybe started to shoot his confidence a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
he started to begin to hold the ball a little bit too long, which led to some sacks and some turnovers. But I think he started to believe that like Jalen Hurts was there to replace him. And as soon as Jalen Hurts got in, like he was done. And he knew like I'm not gonna play here. Like they drafted him to replace me basically.
Yeah. Um,
That's how I felt.
yeah, easily. They did get rid of Carson Wentz, let him go to the Colts. They did get back a first and conditional second that can become a first. So if Carson Wentz plays a certain amount, they can possibly have three more first rounders for the next 3 years from other teams. So they did get rid of Carson Wentz. Deshaun Jackson let him walk. Alshon Jeffrey, and then Jalen Mills as well went to the Patriots. They did add Anthony Harris. I know he's kind of underrated safety from the Vikings, kind of overshadowed by Harrison Smith, who's
Mm,
still a solid player. And then
yeah.
they brought Joe Flacco in, a solidified veteran to kind of come in, um, groom possibly
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, help him go through reading defenses, what you got to do to prepare, um, here and there things, little things.
I see it more like how Miami had Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like
Yeah,
some games, like Jalen Hurts might not be there. Like you got to expect that from a young QB. And I feel like a lot of like teams put a lot of pressure and just like, oh, this is your team, this is this. But like having an older dude there that can like kind of groom and like you said, like teach him the ways of the games, teach him how to. Because Joe Flacco been through it all, the ups and the downs. Like
yeah,
been a Super Bowl winner. He's also been like terrible. So he knows like how to deal with it. And he's an established veteran. So
yeah,
I think that's going to be good for the Eagles, kind of like a fallback plan. He's a running quarterback as well. He could be hurt.
true.
I think it's a good
Yeah,
addition for them.
yep. I always think it's good to have a backup quarterback,
Mhm.
just in case, because you never know. One big hit and he's out, and then you're like, what do I do? What do I do? So you definitely gotta have someone that you can kind of trust and put in there. You don't gotta win 10 games. You gotta go in probably 3 or 4 games just in case, and still be able to compete in those 3 to 4 games. Still have a chance to win.
Right.
But yeah, we'll get into the big. So that big headline was definitely getting rid of Carson Wentz. And then within the past couple of days, made a trade in the NFL draft. Traded their sixth pick and they're 156 overall, probably like a fifth round or sixth, whatever, to the Dolphins for the Dolphins 12th from the 49ers that they got, 123rd overall, and then a 2021 first round pick.
Mm.
So that is definitely interesting, kind of setting themselves up to possibly build around Jalen Hurts. But this team definitely has a lot of holes. So, draft picks are definitely the way to go to build this team. Because we all know you don't build a team through free agents. You don't do through trades. It's, those two types of acquisitions are kind of bringing in pieces to kind of fill little holes or add aspects to your team. But you really build your team through the draft and solidify yourselves.
Mm. That's a good point.
But yeah, that's definitely interesting. I know there was a report out there that they wanted to move up too. I know Miami was in a position where they wanted to possibly get out and get more draft picks because that third pick wasn't even theirs. It was the Texans that they got from Laramie Tunsil.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's just like another asset that they had that they can use. Um, but the Eagles, there was a report that they didn't want to move up to the third pick to get Zach Wilson. But obviously 49ers jumped them and they had no backup plan basically. And hey, we can kind of move back, um, kind of gain another first round pick next year,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of just grab the best player available at 12, and then just keep building the team. Look towards the future. So I think this team realized that they're in a full rebuild. They kind of got to start building the foundation and then work your way up. You're not gonna get better overnight. Basically, this is a process.
Yeah, with the draft picks, I think it's like six is a little bit like high to pick like a wide receiver or asset type guy to add to their offense, but like you can move back and accumulate, like you said. And I think they'll probably still have one of those Kyle Pitts, you feel me? One of those dudes still available that they can
Yeah.
draft right there because so many quarterbacks are going to be picked so early, and
Yep.
there's so many other guys like the offensive linemen and stuff like that. So, I mean, I like that move by them because they know they're in a rebuilding stage now. Like right now, you have a young quarterback that you need to build around because his game is not all the way polished yet, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Yeah, easily. I know Jalen Hurts is probably not the one to go out there and sling the ball everywhere across the field. He definitely, what you're getting out of Jalen Hurts. You're getting a leader, first of all, and then just solid QB play. He's resilient. Been through adversity. He's been through a lot, and he's been a true teammate, a
Professional.
true um just class act. He's been through a lot through college. That's kind of prepared him for the NFL. Because NFL, you're expected a lot, and if you don't meet those expectations, then you're gonna get criticized. He's probably okay with that because he's been criticized throughout college. Especially at Alabama, a high-profile college, expected to win a championship every year. So but he's been through it all, and with this trade back, it kind of possibly shows that hey, Jalen, we're gonna give you this year to kind of show us what you got. Um, and if you kind of show us that you make improvements, you make strides within the season, then we're gonna keep rolling with you and set themselves up. They got the 2021 first round pick next year. That's another weapon. That's another offensive lineman that they can add if they do
Mhm.
believe in Jalen Hurts and he shows them that hey, I am the guy that you can believe in and carry this franchise.
All right. I think we can move to the offense.
Yeah.
Ranked overall 26th. I would take these numbers with a bit of leeway because Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts played in this offense.
Yeah.
Uh, 28th in the passing offense that's not really good, and that's not really what we expect from the Eagles. But one thing I was surprised about was that they were ranked ninth in the uh, rushing ranking, and that just probably a testimony to their offensive line. If more not if not like play calling as well. Um, really, I think when I went on Pro Football Focus, they were ranked like 11th around there, their offensive line. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, passing, I put more on Carson Wentz holding the ball, not trusting what he was seeing,
Yeah.
not being confident in his throws, things like that. That kind of like made it seem like their offensive line or offense wasn't doing that well.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that's all mental with him.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like you were saying, the passing rankings probably, like you were saying, Carson Wentz holding on the ball too long, and then that kind of brought the stats down from the offensive lineman because he was getting sacked a lot. They did give up 65 sacks, the most in the NFL. A lot of those were because of Carson Wentz probably holding on to the ball too long, running around, trying to make too much, and then getting sacked. And then when Jalen Hurts came in, he added another aspect. He can run the ball, and he has the athleticism to get out the pocket, break some tackles back there, and so their numbers went down a little bit. Um, but even with Jalen Hurts, you don't expect this team to be top 10 passing offense. He runs the ball a lot, so you kind of expect that the rushing rankings to still be up there. And you got Miles Sanders as well. He can take it 80 yards, like we've seen.
Solidified.
Um, Solid player, solid player. This team did have 107 penalties. Second worst in NFL. You can't really succeed with that many penalties. Especially if you like, let's say you had a touchdown or a big play, got to bring
Right.
it back. That takes away.
I
Um,
think that just was the culture, kind of how it was
yeah,
established. You knew their coach was on their way out. Like the things, the decisions that he was making throughout the final few games, like we knew, like he was on his way out. And this stat right here shows that he just didn't have control of his locker room or the culture of his team.
yeah, easily. Kind of shows the discipline. Because it starts in practice. If you don't
Mm,
practice well, then you're not gonna play well in the games. If you're practicing sloppy, it's gonna show. That's probably what happened. Guys probably just weren't listening to him no more. They needed a different voice to kind
mm,
of believe in, kind of listen to. Um, yeah, this offense was up and down definitely, and this when they had Carson Wentz too, they would like get down and then they would like come back in the fourth quarter and kind of make it a game. But still, that doesn't that's not going to be successful in this league.
yeah, it's not a recipe for success.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
just feel like the players weren't drinking his tea no more. They weren't listening to how he played and
Yeah,
listening to like the details and
yeah.
believing in what he says.
And then
And
maybe possibly he was like, "Hey, I've won a Super Bowl. I know what I'm talking about." And then they like kind of, "Hey, whatever this, whatever that," kind of just creates tension with everyone in the locker room. And then that's just not everyone. You want everyone to be on the same page because when you're on the same page, that you set yourself up to be able to win. If you guys aren't on the same page, there's tension, there's this or that, then it just creates more things that you don't want in a locker room, and that's not gonna help you win games.
exactly, you if you do all the things right, that just gives you a chance to win. Like
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. Like you have to do the little details just to have a chance, and you still might not even win.
yeah,
And
for sure, for
and
sure.
that's just the league. That's just football in general, but especially in the NFL because everyone's talented and you can win on any given Sunday.
Yep, easily. We'll work our way to the offense or defense actually. Wrapping up the offense, kind of up and down year. Defense,
Ooh, I have to-
pretty mediocre. Middle of the pack basically in everything. 20th overall, 15th ranked passing, 23rd rushing. So middle of the pack wasn't too great, wasn't the worst. Only 8 interceptions, so that was fourth worst in the league. Got to get those turnovers because that sets up your offense. 49th in sacks, that was third best, and then they had 115 QB hits, fourth best. So they were going after the quarterback.
Right,
And
the front.
I think that's always been something that that this Eagles team can do is definitely get after the quarterback. And that's something that made them win the Super Bowl. They were able to get after Brady in those crucial moments.
And with four, that's
Yeah,
the big thing. If you
yeah,
can get after the QB with four, then you can put more people into coverage and have more people in passing
for
lanes, and
sure.
it's
Yeah,
harder to make those certain throws. But their front seven's been solid. Like there's no doubt about their front seven. They
yeah,
have one of the best in the league. It's just really solidifying that secondary, and like you said, with the addition of Harrison, Or is this Harrison or Smith?
Harris.
Harris. Yeah, no, he's a good safety, and I think that's exactly what they needed since Malcolm Jenkins left. They didn't really have no one to run that secondary.
Yeah.
So you put that figurehead back there at that safety position. Maybe go through the draft a little bit with your some second and third rounders. Go get some corners and linebackers, and I mean, we'll
Easily,
see what
yeah.
they can do. I don't
And
know. I don't. Go ahead.
And then again, we see on the defensive side of the ball, 112 penalties. That's the worst in the NFL. So this team was probably getting like 10, averages about 8 or 10 penalties a game, And that's not going to win a lot of games, You got to play disciplined football. And they just weren't. Probably penalties like pass interference. Those are devastating because it's spot foul. Here and there, probably some third downs. They had a penalty and kept the opponent's drive alive. So it's just not setting yourself up for success. You got to clean those up, and hopefully this new coaching staff can kind of come in and emphasize that, and then bring those down, and then you have a better chance of winning for sure.
Yeah, that's gotta have to be a main point. I think you don't do anything here. Like whoever you bring in doesn't mean anything until you fix the culture there.
Yeah.
And once y'all start fixing the culture, then you start adding those pieces in, those next year draft picks, some key free agents. But no one's gonna want to come here unless y'all have a nice, solid foundation. So
Yeah.
I think that's probably their biggest thing that they need to focus on: grooming of Jalen Hurts and fixing their culture, um, establishing an identity on their offense. I know they want to run the ball, but being able to do that consistently, convert on third downs. They were pretty low on their third down percentages. And I don't see too much expectations for them this next year. I see them around the same area, 5-6 wins. But what you want to see is improvement.
Yeah, for sure. And this team does get that full offseason. They're not dealing with last year, just going straight to training camp. They do get a full offseason, kind of work with the team. Head coach gets to work with Jalen Hurts, pick his brain, see what he's good at, see what he's not. And then kind of bring in those. I would say they go out and go get some team captains, go get some players that have been there and done that before. Even in the draft, like go get those team captains, those leaders on the field, because that's definitely something that you need. Because if you just got a bunch of people out there that don't gel well together, then it's just not gonna be good,
Yeah, you gotta have the culture builders around to because football is a lot more than just the plays.
2 players. Yep.
Yeah, it's you gotta have a whole team. You gotta have depth. You have to have people bought in. And if you're not drinking the Kool-Aid, then y'all not gonna win. Point blank period.
For sure. But yeah, definitely this team is in a rebuild. Hopefully they can kind of turn around quicker than later, because the Philly fans love to see a successful team, and if they're not winning, then they're gonna hear it. And Philly's a big market, so that we'll definitely hear about that as well. Rest up the Eagles. We'll hit the Washington football team. 7-9 winners of this division last year.
Crazy.
Yeah, Ron Rivera came in first year and they started off slow. We didn't know really what to expect from this team, and they kind of picked it up at the end of the year. Defense was solid, front seven. I know like every game they're hitting the under every game, because that defense was just playing rock solid. They started off with Dwayne Haskins. He just wasn't cutting it. He just was not what you want in a franchise quarterback. Literally, they would lose a game, and then that night he would go to a strip club and just go party, and there was pictures of it, evidence. And then, especially in this year, that was violating COVID restrictions and policy and all that.
It's COVID protocols, and your head coach had cancer.
Yeah.
You with your head, the main QB, you probably with the head coach most of the time. he's probably talking to you through plays. He's with you in meetings. Like, you can't do that to man. He just had cancer, and he has
Yeah,
a high risk of
for sure.
probably death if he gets it. Like, that's
Yeah,
inconsiderate. And I'm surprised they didn't cut him that day, honestly.
yeah. Because this was like a reoccurring thing too. Probably back to his rookie year, he probably was doing the same thing. So I know you just don't release someone after probably the first time. You kind of say, "Hey, we're gonna give you a second chance," especially with the first round pick. Hey, you got to get your act together. He did say like, "Hey, I'm sorry." Said sorry to the team. Kind of, this isn't a reflection of me. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna be better. And then it just kept happening. So you can after that, that shows that you just don't care.
Yeah.
If you say sorry and you don't really mean it, like okay, you just don't care. You kind of put yourself above others, above the team, and for a quarterback, that's just not basically
We want to lead your
responsible. That's
team.
not what you want, yeah, because you want to be a leader of the team, and if you're doing out there doing that, then you just don't care. Why don't you
Exactly.
go out and go to one of these receivers' houses, go to a coach's house, and review film? Instead, you go out and you go to a strip club, but you know,
Hey, not my life, man. That's a decision
yeah,
he came to, and that's probably why all the old heads be trying to get out of us young bucks, because we be living too much like in our own world. You
yeah,
got to get out of it. You got to think like, how am I affecting people around me,
yeah,
especially at that position? Like, you're supposed to be a leader of a whole team, a leader of a franchise. You can't consistently have this type of behavior and
mm-hmm.
expect to make it long in this league, especially with the amount of money that they give out. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
can't be an average individual.
Yeah, he was a first round pick, so he got to check. So
Exactly.
that money probably got to him a little bit. It was a little irresponsible spending here, spending there. So he can he went to Pittsburgh too. So hopefully that's kind of revamp his career and kind of
Really.
get his life back on track.
Mm.
But this team basically benched Dwayne Haskins, brought in Alex Smith, NFL Comeback Player of the Year. Congrats to him. I know that's a great story. A great story. I've seen the E60, the 30 for 30, whatever it was on him. And that he goes from possibly getting his leg amputated to coming back into the NFL and starting and being NFL Player of the or Comeback Player of the Year. That shows a lot from him. Battled through adversity. That's a lot to easily just say, hey, I almost got my leg amputated. I can just call it a career here. He's probably made his money. He's solidified. He's good for life, basically. But he came back and did what he did. Been the player that he was. Maybe not as explosive. Running the ball or doing things out of the pocket, but still brought this team in, won some games and won a division. I don't think they would have won a division without him, possibly. So they got rid of him. Ronald Darby, a key piece on the cornerback on defense, and then Thomas Davis. Congrats to him too. Retired, went back to Carolina, retired as a Panther. Great career, Walter Payton Man of the Year, one or two times. And then they brought in some key players. Ryan Fitzpatrick. I know we probably see this team. It's probably his team now. Probably a bridge quarterback for maybe someone in the draft next year that they go get a trade possibly. But that Ryan Fitzpatrick can go out there and win some games. Maybe not Super Bowl expectations, but you're not asking a lot from Ryan Fitzpatrick just to go out there, take care of the ball, make some plays. Also added William Jackson, key piece on the defense corner, and then Curtis Samuel, um, versatile offensive weapon. He can run the ball. I know in Carolina he did that. He ran the ball, some jet sweeps. He can also catch the ball. And he's back with his old teammate Terry McLaren. Back in the Ohio State days, they'll play together. So that would be pretty cool for him too. I know he
Yeah.
sent out a post or like we talked about this in college. We dreamed about this. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's not doesn't happen all the time.
I mean, at Ohio State, you might have that happen maybe once or twice. I mean, like LSU, you feel me? Like stuff
Yeah,
like that. But to like sit in a dorm room and talk about, man, we're gonna be playing in the league one day. Like, I've had those conversations with my friends. Like,
hmm,
to see that shit actually happen, like, that would be a blessing.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, this team was solid. I think they're one piece away, and that's just that franchise quarterback. Um, Obviously, Ryan Fitzpatrick is not that. He's just kind of like I was saying, a bridge quarterback. So they definitely need to go out there and get a new quarterback. Maybe it's this year, next year, but no rush. Keep building that team, that defense. Bring pieces here and there, and then once you get that quarterback, you're ready to make your run.
Yeah.
And I think building that team still gives them time to do that. There's no rush for this because it was Ron Rivera's first year last year, and he won a division. So keep building that team, that culture. He definitely emphasizes that a lot. But yeah, this team, looking at the offense, 25th overall, 25th ranked passing, and 26th ranked rushing. So this offense wasn't that explosive. We know that because Alex Smith is not going to be doing that a lot. He's kind of a game manager. Just kind of followed him. What he's been labeled out through his whole career. But yeah, they got some weapons though. They got Terry McLaurin, Logan Thomas kind of blossomed to a starting tight end. Antonio Gibson, rookie running back, was solid, and then they brought in Curtis Samuel. So they definitely have some pieces there. Probably just add on the offensive line and then get that quarterback in, and then you're solid.
Yeah, I think a big thing is going to be their offensive line. I mean, the rushing game, 26, and that's not that good. I mean, they had some good games, but their defense really kept them in all of these games.
Yeah.
And I mean, to lean on be able to lean on your defense and have them keep you in games, that's why they won the division.
Yeah.
Their defense, I know some games, their defense probably scored more points than their offense did. I forgot which game it is, but when what's his name?
Maybe Cowboys?
Chase Dan. What's his name?
Chase Young?
Chase Young. Yeah, he
Against the
grabbed him.
Niners?
He picked the ball about the ground. I'm like,
Took it to the
who is this
house.
dude? Who is it? They scored. I think they scored twice that game on defense.
I think something like that, but definitely when that defense scores, that's it's better, because the offense probably wasn't doing that. They probably don't rely on the offense to score a lot of points. So whenever that defense scores, it's just a plus.
I bet if Chase Young just lands on the ball, recovers it, and the offense comes on the field, they don't score 7. I bet.
Yeah, they probably get a field goal.
Because their offense was not good. Like I think Ryan Fitzpatrick can do enough. Like he's proven enough throughout his career that he can move a ball down the field and score a touchdown. Like
Fitz magic, baby.
Yeah, I just hope. Like I know Shannon Sharp said this, but like whenever he has expectations, he always seems to fall short of them. So now that he has like, okay, this is my team. Like he has expectations. We'll see what he does, but he has all the pieces around him to be successful. Minus the offensive line, and you get that. You work on that throughout this free agency. I don't see why they can't repeat as division winner. I don't see.
Yeah, definitely. This defense was the vocal point, the strength of this team, and we see that in the stats, the rankings: 4th overall, 2nd passing defense, 3rd rushing, 4th in scoring defense, only giving up 20.6 points a game. So your offense only needs to score 3 touchdowns and you win, basically. Gave up 21 passing touchdowns, 2nd best, and then they only gave up a QB passer rating, 81.4, 3rd best in the NFL. So they were able to get after the quarterback, and that defense just able to complement each other because it's not the front end and the back end. They complement each other. If the D line is able to get after the quarterback, those cornerbacks can sit back and kind of break on balls because they know that quarterback doesn't have all the time in the world. So you're able to kind of see that first cut and break, and then you're able to break up that pass, make a pick, do stuff like that, where it gets that quarterback off the first read, and they got to go 2nd, 3rd, and then sacked by then because you got 4 first rounders on that D line.
Right. Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think they had like you said, they got to sit on routes and stuff like that. But with this team, I don't know. You have like it's just a weird feeling about them. I don't know what it is. Like it's just something in the air. Like are they gonna put it together? Type thing. Like I don't know. Is Ryan Fitzpatrick enough? Do they have enough running game? It seems like on paper they do. And last year their defense played outstanding. They had to replicate that season on defense. and also bring them a little bit more if they want to actually go compete in a playoff game.
Yeah, for sure. I think probably that defense only gets better playing together, knowing each other more. Because Chase Young was a rookie. I think he only had like 5 sacks, but we all knew that he was disruptive every play. He was someone that you gotta kind of go up to the line and check,
Those,
check, check 99. We got to see where he's at, you know.
those doubles at them, chip
Yeah,
them, tight ends, running
yeah.
backs.
And then when you double someone, that leaves someone else on that line that gets 1-on-1, and they're all
Right.
first rounders, so you know they're all are capable of getting after the passer.
Mm,
But yeah, definitely this defense is solidified. I would say front seven. They added William Jackson in the back end, solid corner. Um,
where
Landon
he from?
Collins, he came from Cincinnati.
Cincy, that's where it was. I
Yeah,
forgot.
so he kind of was hiding in Cincinnati. I know he had probably really good numbers there, but he was just hiding in Cincinnati. You know, they don't get talked about a lot.
They've been asked for
Um,
so long.
yep. So he can come over to the Washington football team and make an impact. But like I said, we know what this team is: strong defense, young too, and then just gotta improve that offense. You know, as long as you have one side of the ball solidified, you can kind of focus more on one other side and improve that. Hopefully they can do that because they do got the 19th overall pick in the draft. Not the highest, but you know, they did go to the playoffs. You're not gonna get a high draft pick when you go to the playoffs. But you know, I would rather go to the playoffs than have a high draft pick, to be honest.
Or yeah, low draft, whatever you want to look at it.
Yeah, because
But
you can get a starter at 19. You know, and you can
mm,
always trade up. You know, they can try and trade up and go grab a quarterback. But how much is that gonna cost them and their future? Could stay and get a best player available. Add a player on defense, you know, get a linebacker because I don't know who the linebackers are. Like you were saying, that one dude out of Tulsa, maybe, maybe someone slides that. And then they got another linebacker out of Notre Dame, Jeremiah, something something. I know he's a banger in there. So yeah, they definitely have a lot of options and places that they can go with this 19th overall pick. So we'll see exactly what they want to do.
I would like them to go offensive line, but I don't want
True.
you to don't go offensive line if you're not sold on a guy.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you want whenever you go first round, you want a starter, an instant impact player. So whoever's the best available at this spot, go for it. Unless you have an O lineman that you're sold on that fell or something like that. But I think we should wrap it up for this division.
Yep.
Um, who's your division leader at the end of the year?
Um, I'm gonna go with Cowboys. You know, I
The
think
Cowboys.
they always have high expectations and going every year. But I think this is kind of a year where Dak's probably happy. He's more comfortable now that he's got that contract, so he's able to play a little bit more free. He's probably past couple years probably pressing a little bit. Hey, I got to do this to be able to get my contract. I got to do this, you know. So you know, hopefully he stays healthy. Hopefully the whole team stays healthy. That defense is kind of fixed. And they're able to make a little run in the playoffs. Probably don't see Super Bowl, but you know, who knows? Things their ball can roll their way, you know, because you don't win Super Bowls by you got to have a little bit of luck.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I picked the Cowboys. You know, I think they can add a solid player with a 10th overall pick. The offense is solidified. I think the receivers only get better with CD Lamb developing more. Hopefully Zeke can have a bounce back year. Defense, like I said, improves a little bit. I know Mike McCarthy has said that they really got to focus on that defense because definitely that was the weakness of this team. So I definitely think they can do that. And then, because you know this division was basically like a laughing stock last year because we thought that the division winner would win 5-6 games. We didn't know they were all like 3-7 or something like that.
You're terrible.
Um, so we'll see. You know, this division is up in the air. I think it's a battle between like three teams: the Cowboys, Giants, and Redskins, or Washington football team.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I think Mike McCarthy, you know, second year as the head coach, kind of build that culture more. People kind of trust him. Hey, we improved last year. Um, Players bought in, and this is what we can do. This is what we're capable of.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys.
I respect it. I just don't see their defense hasn't got better to me. I
Mm-hmm.
don't. I mean, they if they go in the draft, obviously we'll see what they do in the draft, but it just doesn't seem like they've done enough. I mean, they have some good dudes on their defense already,
Yeah.
but like I ain't seen nothing change.
And they're
Other than
limited too. They're
the
limited to what they can do because with their cap space now, they paid everyone, so they're kind of limited.
whole, yeah. My pick is gonna be the Reds or the Washington football team because defense wins championships. Their defense caught them there this last year. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say this is gonna be the best defense in football next year. The
Yeah,
number one overall. That's a big. You feel me? That's a
it's an
little
achievement.
stamp. You feel me? That's a little stamp right there.
That's
So
possible though. Definitely a
I
possibility.
think it's achievable, especially they brought in that dude from Cincy. You get another year with these defensive linemen, their front seven. I mean, Fitzmagic. I'm gonna put my faith in him. I mean, he ain't ever really done anything other than like 1 or 2 years where he led teams to playoffs. But I think this is gonna be like his last statement before he leaves. Like he's gonna take them to the playoffs, maybe win a game, and kind of be like right off into the sunset, like
Yeah, for sure.
type thing.
Yeah, I think that's a solid pick. Maybe if Fitzpatrick doesn't feel like he has to do a lot, he can just kind of play his game, be a game manager, don't got to take a lot of risks because you have that defense to depend on.
Right.
And
Just
you're right, that defense can easily be number one, at least top five. And if you're a top five defense, that's a solid.
mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I like your pick. But we'll see. Like we both said, this division is up for grabs. We really don't know. And then injuries plays a part too.
Right.
Key players can get hurt, and then that's decimates that side of the ball and leaves the window open for another team possibly. Giants, they're kind of going all in on Daniel Jones.
Right.
Maybe they make a little run there.
If,
But I think we can both agree on we don't see the Eagles making a run at this division.
yeah. I think that's the biggest thing because all these coaches are in their first or second year. Like, which
Mm-hmm.
coach is going to take their culture to the next level?
Yeah.
And Ron Rivera, he's been there. Uh, Mike McCarthy, he's been there. But what system? What? Everything got to click. You feel me? Everything got to mesh. Players got to buy in.
Yeah.
Schemes has to be there. Coaching has to be there. Like, what team do I feel is gonna like start clicking gears? And I'm gonna go with the football team,
Yep.
which is still beyond me why they're still called the football team. But
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think they're gonna get rid of it. It's kind of just stuck in everyone's head. Like, hey, there should be Washington football team.
I can see it. Like, but if he's gonna do that, you might as well just do that for all the teams, like the
Yeah.
Arizona
It's
team.
kind of it's kind of
Yeah,
funny too. They're like initials, whatever is like. Oh, never mind. I was thinking like WTF, but it's WFT. Um, but yeah, I was thinking that like a little funny, but.
WFT, WTF,
But
man.
yeah, that wraps up the NFC East. Um, Thanks for tuning in to the First Look Sports Talk.
Another
Um,
episode.
yes, sir. First one we're getting done. Stay tuned. We're gonna break down all these divisions. Thanks for tuning in. As always, like, subscribe, comment, give us your picks in the division. We always like some feedback. Let us know what you think on our picks. Something that we might have missed breaking down each of these teams as well.
Mm-hmm.
Bring us to solid points. We always love feedback. We love interacting with everyone.
Well, I'm
And
gonna throw this out there too. If y'all want to come and drop some knowledge on us, man, please be
yep,
hit us up. We love it. You feel
yep.
me?
Leave a comment, and then we'll talk about that comment. Leave the ad.
Right.
We'll interact with you. That's always appreciated. And we do it for you guys, not only for us. We love talking about football, but we love to interact with all the football fans. Because it just brings everyone together. Talking about one thing, everyone, something that we all love. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Like I said, subscribe first and foremost, like, comment. See y'all later.
Deuces.